Hey everyone, this is Jay Wilburn, Captain Three Kidneys. I don't know if I look it, but I just rode 15 miles. I was pushing myself, and I got to about the 13th mile, and I was thinking, man, I could do this forever. Then I got to the 14th mile, and I thought, no, I need to stop, or I need to pull up my sleeve so my medical alert bracelet shows really well. But I didn't want to stop on the 14th mile because it was a weird number, and when you tell people you rode 14 miles, it looks like you gave up. That wasn't really the goal you were going for. But 15 miles feels like a nice round number that like that. It was doing that on purpose, and I reached a goal. So I made the 15th mile. Kind of pushing myself just on pure willpower. Made it back to the house, and I didn't want to go 16 miles because if I needed to go to 20 miles, that would have been ridiculous. So wasn't up for that today. But I had a thought which passes my mind a lot, and it kind of has to do with the geography of where we live and the climate patterns and some things like that. But one thought that crosses my mind a lot, and usually when I'm trying to get up to the 10th mile, is I don't need to push my luck with this sky, and it has to do with the weather. And usually I'll go a 10th mile and I'll think, I could probably do 11. I may be able to do 12, but I'll look up at the sky and the clouds will be kind of heavy and dark, and I'll think, I don't want to push my luck with this sky. And it's interesting to think that, and it has to do with we live a few miles inland from Myrtle Beach, so we're on the ocean basically, and the weather we'll get a lot of weather in from the west that sweeps over us. So every storm from the west will eventually pass over the top of us, from Atlanta on in, and then we'll get quick storms coming in off the ocean. And of course, like any beach community, you'll get thunderstorms in the afternoon, especially in the summer. You'll get a stretch of those for a period of time and that kind of thing. But the weather's kind of unpredictable in the sense that like the clouds will move very very fast because they're coming in off the ocean. You got a lot of moisture, so you'll get these big, tall, high clouds, and it kind of, especially for people that aren't used to the area, when they come in, it almost makes the sky look bigger because the clouds are just piled so high from all that moisture off the ocean. And when they get gray and dark, like they're about to rain, it looks very very threatening. So a lot of times I would think, I better go in. It's going to start raining, thundering, lightning, and sometimes it will start raining shortly after I come in. But sometimes it's not thunder, sometimes it's not lightning. So it can be deceiving. You go out and you think, okay, well, maybe it's just rain. And because of the meds I'm on, I have to avoid sunlight too much. So when I'm out riding my bike, I have to sweatpants and long sleeves and a hat. So doing that in South Carolina August is it's pretty hot. I sweat a lot, which is good. It's something I need to do, putting off fluid and stuff. But when it does rain and it's not thunder and lightning, it actually can be really refreshing. The sun's not bearing down on me. I'm already drenched with sweat anyway, so to have water pouring over me from the sky is actually pretty comforting, even when it's kind of heavy. And then the sun will come back out and all that kind of thing. So you get these weird storms, and sometimes they're passing showers. So like you can be riding along, and a few feet to the side, it's raining, but it hasn't reached you yet because that cloud's moving slowly. Or you can. I've had it where I'm going down the road, and the rain is actually retreating in front of me, so I'm not in the rain, but I can see it a few feet ahead, and it actually moves faster than I can catch up to it, so I never actually get into it. And then sometimes those clouds will sweep right over, and they'll pour down on the beach, and they'll stop. They'll pass right over the top of us, and they'll rain further inland. And then sometimes they'll park over the top of us and rain a lot. Now there are times when there is thunder and there is lightning, and when I see that in the distance, it's wisdom says stop what you're doing, turn around, go back to the house. Get off the metal bike, get out from under the trees around the house, and just get inside. So there's times where there's wisdom and judgment involved that there is a threat, but sometimes we see a scary sky and we think, I don't need to push on, I don't need to keep going for a goal. This is an excuse to give up, and it may not be. It may just be a situation where you can keep going, and a lot of times the clouds pass over. I get a little bit of shade, the sun comes back out. You kind of have a picturesque view of these giant clouds that make the sky look bigger, and you get in more miles. And I wouldn't have gotten in 15 today if I stopped when I saw the gray around me, and I listened for the thunder, listened for the lightning, the real threats, but they didn't come. So a little bit of drizzle and that kind of thing, and I just kept riding my bike. So a lot of times that's the persistence that you need to reach a particular goal, is that idea that when the sky looks scary and you feel like you're pushing your luck with the sky, sometimes you just need to keep going. You just need to press on, keeping an eye out for real threat, but understanding that the appearance of threat isn't always what it seems to be. Sometimes the shade is the blessing. Sometimes the sun coming back out is the blessing, and sometimes writing underneath the sky, no matter how it looks, and reaching your goal is the blessing. For all these things, metaphor and otherwise, I'm grateful. For this, I will rise up and be thankful. The link in the description, if you're watching this on YouTube, will probably go to old podcast episode, one from John Long. He works with Beautiful Feet Ministries, goes to Tanzania, helps the people spiritually, but also with physical needs as well. And you can kind of learn about some of the things he does and why he does them. Plan to have him back on the show soon, so I'm going to reach out to him to do a third episode, because he's gotten into some interesting things dealing with the islands in Lake Victoria and some of the people there that are in particular need of hope. And so I really want to get him back on to talk about some of those things, because I found that story very inspiring, and want to get him to tell it too. But I'm going to send you back to listen to an old episode with him, because his is an ongoing story that we're going to come back to periodically on the podcast to follow along with what he's doing and how it's helping people. So thank you for listening, and we'll talk again next time.